Hey guys, Brian here from Better Chess Training, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing some tips for working with training partners. Well, first off, let's talk about some of the benefits of partner training. Of course, in chess, most of our training will probably be on our own, when we're doing our tactics problems, looking up our openings, and analyzing our game. But there's a few benefits from actually working with someone else, and there one is accountability. So if you know that you have to train with someone, you're going to do the work, and during the session you're training with them, you're going to do the work. Another one is objectivity, and that is, when we're looking at our own work with chess and our own training, we tend to have certain views which might be biased. We may think that we're doing we're working really hard or we're analyzing as deeply as possible. But when we have a partner who is willing and able to keep us accountable and also keep us objective about things, then that will improve our training. Another great benefit is having another perspective. So maybe you are a very tactical player, and maybe your training partner is more of a positional player. So that view, and it kind of goes along with the next one, complementary views, you're going to be able to help each other to improve in areas maybe where you're weak. Also, having another perspective other than your own is always helpful because it is very difficult to see yourself objectively, which we talked about as well. And then the final one is sort of the social aspect. I think as chess players, becoming better at chess, especially if we strive to become very good at chess, can be very challenging at times. And it's nice to have people who share your goals and support you through times when you are struggling. So these are just a few of the benefits of partner training. And also, it can be fun, which, you know what, chess is for, should be enjoyed. And so fun definitely cannot be discounted as a great benefit. Okay, tip number one is to pick the right partner. Okay, and there's a few aspects to this. One of them is playing strength, and uh, they generally should be around your rating level. I mean, they might be a little higher, they might be a little lower. So my main training partner right now is rated slightly lower than me, but it's within the same range where it's not that I'm, teaching her or that dependent upon my abilities, because she's close enough in rating that we can help each other. Okay, the personalities definitely have to mesh. I've worked with people in the past where great players, nice people, but there was some clash in maybe our egos or something that just didn't make it quite work out. So you want to make sure you get along with them. You don't have to be best of friends, but you definitely want to have a positive, supportive relationship. The third one is actually very important. You want to be able to give constructive feedback. So you don't just want um, a cheerleader who's going to say, "Oh, everything you're saying is great." You want someone who's going to be able to challenge you when they think that you maybe some analysis that you're doing maybe is not not quite correct, or maybe the way you're looking at a position they disagree with. You're going to want to have someone who can give you constructive feedback, and someone that you feel you can give constructive feedback as well. And this is partly the personality thing too. Someone that you feel comfortable, you're not going to be offended by, receiving that constructive feedback from, as well as someone who's going to be able to accept your feedback for them. And the final one, I don't think is an absolute, but I think definitely helps. And that is to have similar goals and ambitions. For example, if you want to become a chess master and a potential training partner just enjoys playing occasionally and doesn't really have ambitions to improve, then you're going to have some difficulty working together, because when you're trying to stick out a certain schedule, your more casual training partner is going to say, you know what, I don't feel like training today. So definitely want to have, um, you want to be on the same path in terms of your goals, and that will, you follow these tips, you definitely are on the right track to having a positive training partner relationship. The second tip here, I think, is really important when trying to produce productive results with a training partner, and that's to define your work. You want to make sure that you're on the same page with your training partner. And this doesn't mean that you can't experiment with things. I'll give you an example of one that I'm doing right now with my training partner. But you want to have definitely defined work in order to um, make sure that everyone is on the same page, make sure there's no misunderstanding along the way. So here's a couple aspects of that. You definitely want to maybe define how many sessions you're going to work together. Let's say you're working on a specific opening with a training partner. Maybe they play a specific opening that you want to work on. So you're going to play a few training games, just as an example. So you might want to say, you know what, let's do two training sessions, one where I play white and one where you play white, or something like that. And that would be maybe a temporary type of training. A similar one right now is um, that I'm doing, for example, is that I'm going through some endgame studies with my training partner, and basically, we may evolve from there. But right now, our goal is just to finish a specific book with endgame studies, and then kind of redefine after that. But that way, um, I think part of it is, so no one feels bad about any understandings about that working relationship. I think it's important to have a regular schedule. I think it's kind of not as optimum if you just say, well, we'll get together. So for example, my training partner and I'm going to use a lot of examples from my own experience. We meet every 2 weeks online to do our training session, and that works well. It's regular enough that that we're getting sort of a regular routine in and getting enough training in that specific area, but it's not too often that it's going to take away from our other responsibilities and other chess work. Of course, that again is a very personal type of thing, depending on your situation. You might have maybe if you're a younger person and you have your training partners like your roommate, your college roommate, or one of your friends. Maybe you're going to meet a couple times a week doing different things. So again, it really depends on your situation. Well, you want to really define the length of the session so that way you can really fit it into your schedule. For example, my training sessions right now are just an hour. That way, and I do it before work, so I get the hour in, then I go to work, and my training partner also has her work to do, so we do that. And you want to have a format and agenda for the session. And I guess this would be, and this I guess comes from my my professional life, is that you want, I hate going to a meeting that's open ended and no agenda. You want to have a template as to what you're going to be doing during the training session, and of course that can evolve because you can see what works, what doesn't work. You can evolve it, but for that specific training session you're doing, you want to have a plan. So you know what you're doing, and when you're going to be done. And again, I'll show you an example of that a little later. Okay, this next tip is actually about working together with someone during your sessions. And I think some of this is common sense, but again, I've gotten into situations over the years where these have been issues. So, one is you need to set your ego aside, especially as you're getting stronger. You want to make sure that you are there to learn together. You're really trying to support each other. So you really think you're better or you think you know something. You want to make sure it's within the context of your training together. Um, you want to, in general, you want to give equal time both partners in terms of talking, unless otherwise specified. And there might be a session where one person's coaching the other, and in another session, one person will be coaching the other. But in general, you want to make sure that you're giving your partner enough time to express themselves and that they're giving you the same. I found if one person's more dominant, I tend to talk a lot. So I'm always making sure that I'm asking questions and sure that my training partner chance to speak well. And you want to acknowledge each other's opinions. You might disagree. For example, if a person says, "Look, I like this move in this position," you might want to just see why. And let's say you think it's a bad move, you might say together, "Well, let's analyze it because I don't think it's a great move, but maybe I'm not seeing something that you're seeing." So you want to make sure. And the whole idea here is you don't want to insult. And again, I'm not about. Yeah, you want to be honest. If you think something's a bad move, you might want to say, "Hey, can you show me some analysis behind that?" That way, you both get stronger. The whole idea here is again helping each other improve, and together you can improve more so than if you were just doing the same task alone, or at least maybe make you do it in a more fun situation. So, uh, working together, those are just a few tips on how to do so productively. Okay, well, here are just a few training ideas that you have here that you can maybe do with your training partner. And I've done variations of each of these over the years, and really, and this is going back to defining your work. That the key is that you find something that's going to be beneficial for both of you. So, first, you can analyze games. It can either be your own, or maybe you're both working from the same book. You can analyze the games together, and you can actually get a lot of benefit from seeing what each other's thinking. Why doesn't this work? Well, let's play this out or whatever. Um, the main training I'm doing right now is solving of positions and doing hard tactical problems or end game study. And again, I'll show you my agenda on how I do that next. But it's sort of kind of a fun way to work together to go through a set of problems and then discuss our answers and look at and get a lot of insights from the different points of view from my training partner. Play out positions. So let's say, and this could be this could be an outgrowth from one of the other activities, is that maybe you played a game and you had a very complex position and it didn't go the way you wanted to, but you've done some analysis. Maybe you and your training partner plays out that position, and maybe you switch off uh, whose games you're going to look at doing that. But definitely, or maybe a theoretical end game position is another one. One I do a lot with training partners in the past is playing out the knight and bishop checkmate against a lone king, uh, and those have been very beneficial as well. Teach each other. So maybe you have lesson on the end game, and you're going to teach one theoretical position to your partner, and then the next session they're going to teach one to you, or you each take half of the session and teach each other. And so that can be beneficial too when you have a partner that you agree you're both looking to improve a specific area, and you both have, say, the same book, or maybe you each have a separate book. So you're going to teach something from one book, and then your partner's going to teach something from the other book. The other one is to check each other. So, and I'll show you a template for this. So maybe you do your analysis separately, and then you swap analysis, and then you each kind of go over each other's analysis and see where they maybe missed something. And that's a great way to have accountability and also a little fun challenge in your analysis. And the other one is studying together. And this is actually kind of more of the social aspect. You go through and you maybe have separate study material, and then you just study at the same time. You're looking at your material together, and then you tell them. And this is a little more unstructured, but maybe not my favorite way of doing things. But you'll look at say a couple games, and you'll look at it together, and then you'll say, okay, hey, you know what? I have an interesting position. Check this out. So this is something I've actually done at my chess club, where I'll be looking at my endgame study, and my partner will be looking at a book, and we'll be just studying next to each other. Then I'll say, hey, check out this position. Then we'll analyze it together. So it can be kind of a hybrid, but I think you need to have the right partner to do that, as well as be able to. In general, let's say I enjoy the more structured training sessions. So that would be one way. If you have the right personalities, you can get along and do that. I think it's a great way to do it. It's kind of what I did in college, studying for classes with my friends. We would study together, and then we would occasionally break off and talk about what we were studying with. That's if we were in the same class together, of course. But anyways, those are just some ideas, and of course, you can mix and match and come up with your own ideas as well. Okay, well, what I want to end this video on is just show you a couple examples of the way I structure training sessions with my partner. And this first one, we have a specific position, again, like a very difficult tactical position or an end game study. And what we do is we actually we'll greet each other in the morning, and then we will break off and go and we try to solve that on our own. And we start off with 15 minutes. Again, that's arbitrary on our part. It could be more, it could be less. You really could decide with your partner. And then after that 15 minutes, we kind of see where we're at. Usually, if it's a very difficult problem, we might say, one of us or both of us might say, you know what, I need a little extra time. And then we'll go through the extra time. And then after, say, 10, 15 minutes, we'll check in again. And if one of us has it and the other one almost there but doesn't quite have it, we'll say, hey, you know what? Look at this position. And we'll try to coach each other without giving the answer. Say, you know what? Check out what forcing moves haven't you looked at yet? And those types of cues to help them to solve it. But the key is not to give them the answer. Don't just say, it's knight to b3. You want to give them enough so that they can keep working it on themselves, and that will be very beneficial. So we've had, and I've been on both ends where I've been the one who's coached, I've been the one who coaches, and sometimes we both kind of coach each other at the same time, sort of like, what are we both missing here? And then we both talk through it. And then we check the solution together and kind of see, oh, look, I missed that, or I didn't see that aspect. And so that's always very beneficial. And then, of course, we discuss it. And I found that that's been a very good template to have. It really allows us both to get our work in as well as express ourselves in a way that's beneficial to both of us. So let's go on. I've got one more example. Okay, and this is actually more of an experiment, starting with my training partner. I've done things like this in the past, but a new one, so I just wanted to share it with you to show you what I mean. And basically what we're going to do is we're both noting that we both sometimes have over dependence on the chess engine. So I just thought of this on the fly. I said, well, let's analyze a game on our own, and then send the annotated game to our partner. And then what the partner is going to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at her game and her analysis, and I'm going to check the game with a chess engine and look at it and try to correct her analysis where appropriate. And then we have a session together to discuss the analysis and maybe do any necessary coaching or discussion in order to help our partner improve that aspect of the analysis or that part of the game. And I think it's going to be interesting. So again, I'll update you guys in a future video about how that goes. But I just wanted to give a couple examples about how you can work with someone else, complement each other to improve your chess. I hope you found this video helpful. I'm really enjoying working with my training partner. Like I said, I do work with coaches as well that help me on my game. But this is one where I can work with someone, a peer who has a similar chess strength and similar goals in terms of improving our chess, and really help each other to raise both of our games up. So if you already work with training partners, let me know about your experiences in the comments, both good and bad, I guess, or if there's any additional tips that you would include. I would also say if you're going to try one of these out or just trying to experience with a training partner, let us know in the comments how that goes. I'd really like to hear your feedback. In any case, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.